Welcome back to the Football Terrace. It's Friday. Happy St. Stephen's Day and happy Boxing Day to everybody that is celebrating. Happy Friday to everybody that is not. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all well. Oh, we've got a special guest coming on the show as well now. Felice Daivd. I'll wait for his camera to come on. I'll bring him in. But thank you all for being here as well. Staffy, Don, how are you boys?
Good, man. Good Christmas. You know, we was talking backstage and that. It was good to give to all my nieces, nephews and that their presents. You know what I'm saying? All the food, the family and that. So yeah, man. We're gonna have a nice straight facts today. It won't be as long as usual, people, but yeah. It's
slightly shorter version of the show today, mainly because United are playing later. AFCON's on. I've got the Egypt game on right now. Plus, this is the time of the year where I really do overindulge. I had a lot of food yesterday. That being said, I did go on the longest dog walk of my life yesterday, the 2 and a bit hours with the pup. Because he needed it, because he was going to eat a lot of food, because I knew my family were coming around, and they shouldn't, but they were just going to give him food, meat all day. The boy, my dog couldn't walk by the end of the night. He had a great day too. David's here with us as well. Welcome, brother. Hope you're good. Hope you're well.
Yes. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Staffy. Been having back and forth with you for quite some time, so it's good to be on the same show, my friend.
Right off the bat, coming at me like that. All right,
you know what it is, baby. You know what it is. I couldn't miss this.
Is it the first time?
No, we've been on a show once before, but I think I headed off as he came in, you know, because he's the VIP.
I can't wait for this.
Don, did you hear what all I heard there is Staffy, hello, you're a prick. That's what I heard.
No, bro. Not at all.
Make sure I'm on the level here. I want to make sure. But welcome everyone to the show. Loads to go through today. We are looking at the Semenyo deal. Yes, he's picked Man City, but a big report that he would have gone to Arsenal. He wants and prefers Arsenal. But yet the Gunners didn't make a massive move. Will Arteta and co regret that later this season? We're looking at Elliot Anderson to Man United, the #1 choice, as Ruben Amorim admits he has made mistakes, wishes he could go back a year and do things differently. Not everything, but do things differently. Is this the beginning of a U-turn? Is it the beginning of the end? We're discussing that today as we also look ahead to tonight's game. Man United hosts Newcastle United at the theatre of our dreams. The only Boxing Day game, which I will just say off the bat, as a Brit especially, because it's part of our culture, fuck you, Premier League. Fuck you, Arsenal.
So true.
Making us spend even more time with our families. So I put the show on today to get the boys out. Do you know what I mean? So fuck you, Premier League. With big test for Arsenal tomorrow as they play Brighton. Plus, Chelsea must beat Villa after only 1 win in their last 5, falling behind the top pack. But where I want to start today is I want to ask you, first of all, Staffy, my old chestnut, my old China plate. That's what I meant to say. I don't know why I said chestnut. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I was about to ask you, what does that even mean? But you say a lot of shit that I don't get. So
China means China plate, mate, right? But I don't know where chestnut came from. I don't know why I even said those words.
Is it because these two are both dressed like bears? You know, bears, chestnut.
Don't hate on the hoodie, bruv. It's a Christmas present, right? From the kids. It's a beautiful big hoodie, keeps me warm. Yeah, it was nice. Having a few vodkas in it today. Big up Staffy for the inspiration.
Listen, man, it's a snow day. I'm sitting at home. Why not put the bear hoodie on? You know, there's Duncan hate all he want, but if he got one, he would have been wearing it too. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I've got one, but it's not a bear, it's a moose.
In fairness, my kids, I've still got some of my kids like baby grows. I could send you one of them. That'll probably fit.
Oh, blimey.
This guy's taking the piss.
There we go. But look, Staffy, I want to come to you first. Ruben Amorim today has said that if he could go back 12 months, he would do 75% of his kind of approach to managing United differently. He has said that he's realized that for his style of football and the shape to work, it's very expensive and you need all the perfect positions. More and more of a suggestion that we're going to see changes as things move forward. But what's your reaction to him coming out now and saying this after only a few months ago stating that the Pope wouldn't make him change his ways? Big up the Pope, by the way.
First of all, justice to the Pope. He would have been very disappointing finding that out today, because his name got dragged into this for no reason, just for him to go back on his word. You know, it's like as a Muslim saying Wallahi, but then you actually do the opposite after you say Wallahi. It's very disrespectful. That's number one. Number two, my honest reaction is I laughed. I actually laughed. I sent the news to my group chats and I just laughed at it because he already said something that we already knew. But for some reason, it took him 13 months to realize it, which is pretty shocking. But yeah. I wouldn't say that we felt vindicated because I think everyone and their mother knew that he needed to adapt a lot of things. So there's no sense of vindication when we all agree on the same thing. I would say 90% of us should have agreed on the same thing. But I'm not really surprised. Anyone who knows a little bit of football just should have just seen what he was doing and knew that he needed to adapt. It just sucks that we had to finish 15th and lose a Europa League final for no reason. That's basically what that news told me. It told me that he should have adapted sooner, but we treated him like a Make-A-Wish kid, and we just gave him a free trial for 13 months to do whatever the fuck he wants. And then 13 months later, he realized he was wrong. And he came out and said 75%. Do you understand how much? Like 75%, for anyone to say, I would have changed 75% of what I did, it is so much. But it's a slap in the, I even say it's a slap in the face for people who just back him blindly. And I mean mainly like the match going fans and stuff like that. Now, I wouldn't say Daivd because I don't know. No. It depends on the day, you know. But Daivd, you know, he's like the weather out there. You never know what weather you're going to get on the day. But yeah, I mean, it's a slap in the face to these people who just back blindly shit and they just don't understand what it means. Now there's a sense of vindication to at least to that sense. The fans will say, you know what, a lot needs to be changed. I couldn't tell you how many times I sat on this platform right here or my platform and I spoke about how Ruben Amorim is like a typical new day manager. Those managers that are like, people like to refer to them as hipsters. I'd like to bring it a little bit more accurately, say these are the modern day managers that need everything being perfect to a T before they can start and achieving things. And I don't like idealists in general. Just not in football, just in general. Anyone who thinks everything has to be ideal for it to work, it's just never going to work. Life is never going to be ideal. You're always going to find situations where you have to deal with what you've been dealt at the moment. And that was Ruben Amorim for 13 months. And he just finally realized that, number one, it's never going to be ideal. Number two, it's too expensive to be an ideal squad in football because you're never going to have the equivalent of Ahmad to the left, like he said, with a right foot. Or you're never going to have all the ball-playing center backs if you want some. And he's never going to have the best the goalkeeper. All that stuff that he was trying to break down, a lot of fans already knew that. It just sucks that this football club, for how big it is, allowed a manager with this amount of inexperience to come in and learn on the job just to finally, after 13 months, admit that he was wrong at the expense of finishing 15th in a Europa League final.
Yeah. Can I ask a quick question? You can ask a quick question to Staffy. Him changing now, Staffy, you were 100% right, and I agree with everything you say. Does it give you a refreshed, renewed feeling that, okay, let me get behind this a little more and see? I agree, it's been a bit of a waste of time, and we could have won more games. We could have been in a better place. But does this give you a refreshed feeling of, okay, let's hope he improves and let me get behind this?
No, because once I make my mind, I don't make my mind based on little sample sizes. Terry at least will give me that because he's worked with me enough to tell you that. For me to turn on a manager, it takes a lot for me to say I am manager out.
I could almost answer this for Staffy because I've worked with him so much. And then you tell me if you agree, Staffy. So it's not about him saying this. If, for instance, we went through 10, 15 games, like we've seen in the last two matches, I think we could all agree in the last two matches, we've seen really big adaptations to the positions that people have moved into. He's gone to back fours. If that happened for 10 to 15 games, the football progressively got better. We started winning more, conceding a lot less, looking like a better and brighter team. I know for a fact Staffy wouldn't need to have a day where he sits down and goes, right, guys, I've written a statement. I'm going to apologize and say I got it wrong. You would see, as the team got better, you would see Staffy's opinion change gradually. That's the way Staffy kind of works. Same as when he falls out of love with a manager, it will start off by defending him. And that defending of that manager gets less and less and less the worse they get. That's how I think.
He used to fight. Yeah, he used to fight for. Yeah, you just reminded me, Terry. He used to fight for Amorim, innit?
Because you know what it is, Don. My idea in football is I don't judge managers based on until I see few things. So I have like a checklist. Some of these things require like one full season with a transfer window, with some players coming out and some players coming in. And if I see enough change, and I'm like, I kind of see what you're trying to do, even if I don't see it in the beginning. I'd like to be very fair with any manager, even if I didn't want you to come in from the beginning. I think people forget for how aggressive I am right now on being Ruben Amorim out. I think people forget that I wasn't fully Ruben Amorim out, like very vocal on it until the Brentford game. Those Grimsby / Brentford games were, I think they were back to back. That's when I was like, yeah, I can't no more. Like, bro, I was on the beach in Puerto Rico and my phone was ringing up. You guys were trolling me. I was like, I'm not even watching the game. I'm on vacation. Leave me alone. That's how bad it got, bro. Like, it took me a while to get there. So one statement doesn't make me back on the manager's side. Him acknowledging it, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't do a lot to me because I know most of us know enough football to look at what he was doing and already make that assessment. The fact that it took him this long to follow up, it doesn't really impress me. But equally, as Terry said, if a manager goes on like a 10-15 game run where the football significantly improved and he did this and that, I don't have an ego thing where I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to use yesterday's opinion when we have new news today. Of course, I'm going to go by what was given, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to back him just on a statement. And I'll be honest as well, I don't even think much is going to change because if anything, he just proved to me inexperience and that he's going to make a lot more mistakes to come forward. Like, it's not like the mistakes ended today because he just finally acknowledged it and now he's going to be perfect. It's going to be more mistakes coming forward, bro. He's a young coach.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Let me ask you, man, do you think, Terry, before you come in, right? Do you think that he would actually even say any of this if AFCON didn't happen, bro?
Maybe not.
I feel like his hands been forced now.
It's a good maybe not. What I will say to defend Ruben, the same as I've defended Jason Wilcock this week, is this idea that we were only considering change if we bought Semenyo. I found that some United fans, maybe innocently, haven't read those articles, haven't read or listened to those interviews from both the manager, who said, I think in his second interview for the club, that there will come a day where he changes his style and his system. I'm still a little confused about what every person means by style and system, because what I've realized in the last 12 months under Amorim is some people consider style and system to be the shape, where I think you can change formation but play in the apply yourself in the same way on the pitch. But I think he's had his hand forced slightly. I also feel that upstairs have got involved in this, and we know
Jason
that
Wilcox. Me and you were talking about this the other day. Jason Wilcox had a talk with him. 110%.
And for me, that's the bit I'm happy about, because I don't think managers should run football clubs anymore. I think giving any manager in the world that kind of power is the road to ruin.
Hold on. So just to be clear, you don't think this was Ruben Amorim that's made this decision? You think he's been pushed in that direction? I don't think so. This is the way I look at it. I'm not dealing in polarization or absolutes in this conversation. Yeah. This is a little bit like, and all of us have done this professionally, where something you're doing isn't working. Somebody senior to you has had a conversation, but you've still come to a collective decision. I don't think it's a case of, because I think if he says, no, I'm not changing, and they say you have to, I think you end up with him being sacked or him walking away. I do think he's had to make compromises and agree on certain things. He is still making a decision to give 100% for the changes he's going to make. So I don't want to make it like he's been forced into doing it, because I think that's too absolute. But I think there's definitely been a conversation from upstairs. But that all for me stems from what Jason Wilcock said in March, in the summer, and then again in November. He said, we're not buying players purely to play three at the back. We are buying players that can play multiple systems. He said, we're already seeing training sessions for 4-3-3 being used, and it's something that the club and team will look to evolve into. So I'm not buying this kind of nonsense that he just woke up when the players went AFCON, or when we were trying to sign Semenyo and went, oh, I've had an epiphany. I think that's too neat. That's too EastEnders. It's too soap opera. It's too. There's too much evidence before it for me. But I'm a bit more in Staffy's camp. I feel a little bit like I gave it more time than Staffy did. Some people gave it less time than Staffy did, and there's no right or wrong for me. Some will say I was right never to back it. I'll always give things ample chance and opportunity. I wanted to see the start of this season. But the big turning point for me, barring Grimsby, which was just an emotional night above and beyond, the Everton game is the one that I can't get out of my mind. The fact that we didn't take a centre-back off and put more in midfield that night. The West Ham game, when they equalise and there's 15 minutes, including injury time, they're not very good, West Ham. And our only substitution with attackers on the bench was to go centre-back for centre-back and do nothing else different. Seeing him in the last two games play differently and play quite well in spells, it bothers me that he didn't do it sooner. But
I do hope he turns it round. Not because I want Amorim individually to be a success. I'd like it, but it's the bigger and more important element is Man United improving to me. I'd rather him turn it round and we spend no money on compensation and no money compensating another team, and we can become we can become fixed in terms of how we play and get back to the top without and invest that money through sacking him and hiring somebody else into players. Am I convinced that's going to happen? No. I don't think it will turn around because it would be. Some people will use the Arteta example, but it would be an anomaly. I don't remember a giant club hiring a manager who had a 30% win percentage for 12 months, who then turned it round and went on to win in the league. I don't remember it happening. So yeah, I'm happy he's admitted it. I think it's always a good thing in life, and I won't change this view. When you've been doing things wrong, I think it's very healthy and cathartic to admit it and take ownership. We're always asking managers to take ownership. So I will give him credit for that because I'm a bit of a hypocrite if I don't. But it does feel a little too much, too little, too late. But David, I want to ask you about tonight's game. How do you think we're going to get on tonight against Newcastle?
I think they're missing as many players as we are, right? So it's a 50-50 game. I think Newcastle's last game against Chelsea was a game of two halves. They were excellent in the first 45 minutes, and then Chelsea do what Chelsea do. Chelsea can also string a 45-minute together that can beat anyone in the world, right? I think it might be one of those games, but you guys know where I stand. Without Bruno Fernandes, we're going to be in big trouble. I'm a bit nervous about tonight, but part of the improvements that I have seen, and I know that might trigger a few on the panel, is I look forward to our games now. I feel like we attack more. Yeah, you don't know which way to point there. I feel like we attack more, and I feel like we're going to go for it a little bit more. We're missing a lot of players, but I'm excited about tonight. As for predicted tonight, it could be anyone's. I think it's a game of two halves and it can go either way. But yeah, look, I'd be surprised if we win. I have to be honest. I'd be surprised if we win. I think we'll do well to get a draw. But it is at home. It is Boxing Day. Let's give it all we got and get behind the team. Get behind this rejuvenated Ruben Amorim. You know, him admitting that he needs to change things, I think, is a positive and coincides with me saying that things have improved as of late. The changes of formation, him coming out and saying he's learning on the job. I mean, we've got Don on the panel today. Enzo Maresca's also learning on the job. He come up against Ruben Amorim earlier in the season, got that red card, made a huge mistake, almost basically lost the game for Chelsea. But these you can't think that you get a manager and he's a finished article. He's not Pep Guardiola, you know what I mean? He's made a whole bunch of mistakes, but I think there's room for improvement. Going from 15th to 7th, I know we're not at the end of the season. I'd say that's a massive improvement, guys. And if we get a win tonight, where does that put us? I know there's a lot of games to play, but where does that put us?
That's so shameless. That's so shameless, bro.
Bro,
he's not shameless. He genuinely means that.
I genuinely mean it, bro.
I'm gonna back, but I will back. Where I will back David on this. If we are to win tonight, we would go on to 29 points, right? And again, I'll say what I always say: points are not the ultimate barometer. There's many other things to consider. But after 18 games last season, we were in 14th place on 22 points. So we would be 7 points better off, and we're currently
4 points better off last season.
Yeah, man. Like,
we are currently.
It's time for me to cook, bro, because I was trying to stay quiet.
I agree with a lot of what Staffy said, but let's be fair, because if we win tonight and we are 7 points better than last season, that is an area to be positive about for me, because if we were 7 points worse off, nobody would be saying it's only 7 points. They'd be saying it's 7 points is massive. So there is, but again, for me, the points element, it's a barometer. It's not the ultimate barometer. There's a lot more things to worry about. But Staffy, how do you see tonight going against the mighty Toonami?
All right, so I just want to address a few things. The whole improvement thing. We're talking about improvement, all right? At the exact season, we had one less. So it was 4 less points. But after a whole year, spending all that money in the summer, 13 months of development, we have only one more win. That's number one, all right? Number two, we're talking about development, right? We haven't won a game at home.
I don't want to get.
2 full months, we haven't seen a win at home. When David sits here and he talks about development, David is talking about scoring 4 goals against the mighty Bournemouth, who, by the way, haven't won a game.
No.
Finish.
I've got to interrupt. No. It was 8 goals in 2 games. Let's not get it wrong.
We have scored 4 goals against Bournemouth, and David is talking about improvement. Mind you, that's a team that went 8 games without a win. He was excited about scoring 8 goals in 2 games. One of them was against who? Wolves. Guess how many wins Wolves has? None.
Yeah.
They have 2 points compared to last season where they had 12 points. That is how bad of a team that is. We are sitting right here and we're talking about minor changes and saying is development. Anything over 15th is a development. So we're not going to sit here and pretend that this is a major development. And by the way, 13 months later of coaching, and we're still relying on one player to be on the pitch or not. We are not confident to win a game of football because one player, and Bruno Fernandes, no matter how good or bad he is, Bruno Fernandes being out is why we're ruling out a win. That is what 13 months of coaching gets you at Man. After 13 months and say because Bruno's not there. By the way, Bruno Fernandes, who shouldn't even be playing in DM because he's a 10, by the way, guess who's the most dribbled player passed in the whole fucking league? Bruno Fernandes. Everything tells you there is no improvements in the way that people speak about it. Yeah, sure, 4 points is more than no points. Sure, 4 goals is more than 2 goals. But when we sit here and we contextualize what happened in 13 months to what we are in today, this is not the improvement that you want to be talking about. I am going into a game today, and I know this manager will not coach me a win. Now, people are going to use Mboum being away as an excuse. They're going to use Ahmed being away as an excuse. They're going to use Bruno's injury as being an excuse. But guess what? I only saw 2 wins in 2 months anyways, and I haven't seen a win at home in 2 months anyways. So to pretend that this is only going to happen because these guys are not there would be a lie. I have seen this team last season get absolutely ran to the ground against Newcastle, by the way, which Bruno wasn't there again. And 13 months later, I think it's going to happen again. Manchester United, ladies and gentlemen, have 0 chance of winning the game today. Now, I know statistically you're going to say, of course you can win a game of football. Yeah, sure. But I'm telling you, when you add all this context, there is generally, in my opinion, 0 chance that we're going to pull up with a midfield of Casemiro and Ugarte and expect to get a win today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed your Christmas day. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas Eve. I hope you guys just enjoyed the last 2 days in general, whether you celebrate or not, whatever you did over the last 2 days, because Manchester United football is back today and you're going to see another loss. It's plain and simple.
You know what it is, David. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned about their injuries and whatnot, right? Because you're right. Newcastle do have a lot of
well done, mate.
Staffy was crashing out. Newcastle have a lot of injuries, yeah, but they've still got a very good team.
Yeah. So want to say on their injuries, right? On their injuries, right? They've got Trippier out, Botman out, Dan Burn and Livramento, right?
And Nick, as well, innit?
Maybe, but they've still got, for me, they've got Tonali, they've got Bruno G, they've got Joe Linton, they've got their main goal scorers. When you've got your midfielders and you've got your main goal scorers and you're up against a weak defensive team, it isn't that bad. For instance, if Man United, we've got Bruno out, we've got our best defender out, and then you've got our best attackers out. It's the other way. If it was the other way around, I'd rather their level of injuries, but yet all our best attackers and midfielders be there, and the other way around. But sorry, back to you, Don. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I was just saying literally that, bro. Like, you know, I was looking at their injuries last week as well, Terry, but they still managed to field a good team. Obviously, Miley played at right back. He'll probably play at right back again. But their midfield, I don't think Joe Linton's back because Howell said he's carrying like a groin injury. So he might not be there for the game, innit? But they've got, what's his name? Ramsey, that Ramsey kid that they signed. So they should be winning that midfield battle with Tonali, Bruno and Ramsey. They've got Voltemades available still. You've got what's his name? What's the left winger's name? I always forget my man's name.
Gordon.
They've got Harvey Barnes, they've got Gordon, they've got Murphy available.
Gordon played well against you lot.
Yeah, I mean, Elanga might sting you lot today. I know this guy's been meaty. One of the media signings, he could sting you, man, today. Yeah. So, boy, I'm looking at this game, Terry, and honestly, your home form hasn't been great. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's like Newcastle haven't been good on the road, I don't think. But when I'm looking at what they've got available in comparison to you, man, I think the main thing for them, ride that wave, yeah? ride that wave, that initial wave at Old Trafford, and they can definitely win this game, man. Because I don't see how you win this midfield battle. I just don't see it, though.
Well, Lisandro Martinez, baby. Lisandro Martinez. That's how we win it. I was saying for a few weeks on this show, actually, that I want to see Lisandro Martinez in that role. Because, listen, we're dying for someone in that role. At the top of the show, Terry, you mentioned Elliot Anderson being a potential signing, etc. Yeah. I mean, Staffy's ran away now after his amazing rant. He's saying losing Bruno shouldn't be the end of the world for us. But at the top of the show, you mentioned signing Elliot Anderson can make a huge difference. So the point I'm trying to make there is one player is huge. Some players are special enough that when you take them out of a team, a lot of things change, and Bruno is that. But back to the initial point, Lisandro Martinez' little cameo the other day for 15 to 20 minutes, I thought he looked excellent in that role. I think we have to play him there tonight with Casemiro if he's back. And that's our only hope of getting some sort of... All his passes the other day, he played them forward through the lines. I haven't seen that since Michael Carrick. Maybe I'm getting a bit excited. I thought he was excellent for 15, 20 minutes. I don't know if you watched it, Don, but...
Do you know what? He was good when he came on. My only concern, and I'm actually more worried about his knees than the game when I say this, so I just want to be very specific on what I'm worried about, is Villa didn't press us. So, yes, he turned a few people, and there's some good touches, and he looked very, very good. I worry about the power, speed, and know-how of playing in midfield of this Newcastle team up against a returning player like him. Now, listen, I hope you're right, and I hope he goes into if he goes into that area. I hope he's fantastic. I personally would put him back in defence though, because Yoro's looked shaky recently, and I stand on how good a talent Yoro is. But young defenders go through bad periods, and it's just a shame that as he's hit a bad patch, our three main centre backs are either recovering from injury or are out injured. I would put him at the back, Lisandro. I would put Fletcher into the midfield, because for me, when you give youngsters that have no experience a chance, I'm not saying I'm happy for them to make mistakes when they're out midfielders or attackers, but you know as well as I do, the crowd don't turn on them in the same way. It's less likely that he's not like a player who's just had a cruciate knee ligament injury who could turn because of a Bruno G or a Tonali and then be out again for a year. Very unlikely. I would go with Fletcher in the middle. I'd put Lisandro at the back, but I would actually use the same formation that we used against Aston Villa, where we sit Casemiro as a DM in front of the back four, and then I'd put three midfielders ahead of them. I'd pack the central areas, and we're never going to beat them for talent in the middle because they've got a very good midfield, Newcastle. What we could try and do is beat them numerically. That's the only way I see us having any kind of foothold in this game. It's going to be hard tonight, though. Personally, I think the best we can hope for is a draw. Of course, I hope we win. Yeah. But I think the best we can hope for is a draw. The good thing is the next game is at home, is against Wolves, and no disrespect to Wolves, even with all our injuries, we're winning. We are winning that game. As arrogant as that may sound, I just don't think. I mean,
so Terry, I'm just checking here in the league. Yeah, so you've only won 4 games in the Prem this season at home. We're looking at it here. It says Man United, Burnley. You won 3-2. You obviously beat Chelsea. You beat
Sunderland, and we beat Brighton.
Brighton, okay. 4. Because Z was saying similar to Chelsea, but when I'm looking at Chelsea's here, it's saying that we've won 8 at home.
Yeah, no, our home form, it's our away form recently which has been a little bit better. It's been our last 3 home games. We actually won 4 of our first 5 home games and looked really good. Then we lost that weird game to Everton, and then we drew with West Ham when we should have won, and then we drew with Bournemouth. When the Bournemouth and the Bournemouth and the all 3 of those games, if you watch them, how we didn't beat 10-man Everton is because we stayed too defensive. The Brighton game, I mean, not Brighton game, the Bournemouth game, the first half was probably the best football we've played in 12 months. And then we had a collapse in the second half. And then the West Ham game, again, we were by far the better team. We barely conceded any opportunities, conceded late, and then couldn't get a winner. So it's not been, in terms of our performances at home, it's not been that bad. It's just been the last few games. It's been turning them into wins the last few games at home. So do I think we're going to get ran through and beaten 3 or 4-0 tonight? No, I don't, because that's not really happened in any home game this season where we've been battered for large parts. It's hard to judge the Everton game. They actually started really well and we're on top. but 10 minutes in they got a red card, so it's hard to know what would have happened after that point. But
Terry, I've just double checked it. We've only won 4 at home this season as well. Our away form is actually one of the best in the league.
I didn't realize.
Where did you guys finish? Where did you guys finish last season? Chelsea
4th.
You remember? You finished 4th. We finished 15th. Now, I'm not being funny. What points are you guys on now? This is not to go at Chelsea, by the way. This is just
29. They're 3 points ahead.
We're not far from them. Yeah, it's a problem.
The point, it's a problem for you guys, but the point I'm making is that is an improvement for us. Am I correct in saying that we're on par with Arsenal for goals scored?
We do you know what? I think we have made improvements in certain areas.
Sorry, Terry, I know you want to. The point I'm making is when I've been saying I see improvements over the last few weeks, especially after the 3 wins in a row that we had, that's going back a few weeks ago, only being 3 points behind Chelsea, who finished 4th last season. I mean, what more could we have hoped for? Yes, our defense is shocking. Yes, this manager's made a lot of mistakes. But when you look at it as a broad, analysis, it's not terrible. We're heading in the right direction.
But I think it's about. I think some people, it's if they can't see light at the end of the tunnel, scoring some more goals or having a few more points feels irrelevant because you feel at some point you're going to be back into a negative position anyway. What I will say in terms of improving overall, if we were to beat Newcastle tonight, I think we beat Wolves the game after. Then actually, it was crazy. Is game week 18 and 19 last season we got no points. So if we did win our next 2, we'd be 10 points better off than last season. I think it's hard being 10 points better halfway through the season to not say there's been some improvements. But equally, I think it's very important to still focus on the massive areas that need improving. On Chelsea, I wanted to ask you, Don, you play Aston Villa, who are 7 wins on the bounce. I think if they win this game, it's their best winning streak in about 55 years. How are you feeling about it? Because since you beat Barcelona, you're brilliant against Burnley. You were out of this world against Barca. I know you drew with Arsenal, but I do think overall you had a very good game, contextually speaking. But things have been very shaky since. I thought you were good against Everton. Praise you after that game. But there's been a lot of up and down performances. Brilliant second half against Newcastle, but could have been 3 or 4-0 down in the first half. How are you feeling going into this game in terms of, I think if you win, you end up 10 points off third. You could be dragged as low as 6th or 7th in the league if you don't win. How are you feeling into this match? And
I mean, if we lose, we're 10 points off third.
10 points off third. What does Maresca have to do? What's the game plan to beat Aston Villa tomorrow evening?
We need to make sure that we're winning that midfield battle like the way we did last season, bro. When we played Villa last season at home, it was one of our best performances, Terry. We battered them 3-0. He actually played Caicedo at right back. He inverted him into the midfield. Lavia was fit, which was a massive help. You had Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia in the middle with Palmer as well. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant day out there. We had Sancho that was cooking on the left with Cucurella. So we need to do something similar this time round, Terry, man, because you know how much I rate Villa's midfield. I think they've got every profile you can ask for in there, bro. You're looking at McGinn, a real brute, a real captain. You're looking at Tielemans, the tech, the way that he breaks lines. You're looking at Onana for the physicality, the way, again, he breaks up play. He's good on the ball as well. You're looking at Rodgers, a ball carrier. He's able to break down low blocks. He's able to come central. He's able to drift wide. You're looking at, what's his name? Barkley, bro. He brings experience into the team as well. Even the other guy they bring off the bench these days. What's my man's name? Is it Bogmead or something like that? Bold something? They've got Kamara. I even forgot Kamara.
Yeah.
They've got Kamara as well. So they've got a lot of players in there that can cause us problems. So we need to be winning that midfield battle for one, Terry, right? And we need to make sure that we're clinical in this game, man, because Villa are going to come out to play. I don't think they're going to be man-to-man aggressive pressing, but they're going to sit in the mid to low block, trying to, press us into mistakes. And when we get that space in behind, the likes of Garnacho and Neto, bro, they can't be momentum killers in this game. Because Garnacho in the past 2 games in the Prem, bro, this guy could honestly be sitting on at least 4 goals. You know what I mean? And he's got 0. He's got 0, bro. So we need to make sure that we win that midfield battle. And again, we need to make sure that we exploit that space that we get. Because we will get space in this game at times. And we need to be clinical. That's the main thing for us, Terry. You know what I'm saying, bro?
You are winning that midfield battle. Man United put Delo and Mount into central midfield and outnumbered them. And we did win the battle against them at Villa Park, no matter what anybody says. You are not going to have a problem dominating the ball in the game. But I think that's where Villa almost like it as well because they love to counter. And what they're going to look to do, this is your biggest weakness because it's everybody's against them. It's them knocking the ball into the channel and then finding Morgan Rogers anywhere in about a 20-yard, 25-yard radius of that goal. That man can score. You've got Watkins who loves to peel off the shoulders of players. That's what you've got to guard against. In some respects, with a Chelsea team that's not purring at the moment, it's a brave thing to do. You might be better off giving them the ball sometimes and luring them in a little bit because that's how they've won all their games, even against West Ham. Fucking West Ham. Pinning them back, and they just bang, ball over the top, bang, goal. Ball over the top, bang, goal. The one thing I'd say is it's almost like nobody respects Villa enough to give them the ball, so they have it, and then Villa keep beating everybody. But that's as you say, the way you win, you are going to have more of the ball. You're not going to do that. You need your attackers to be clinical. You need to put the ball into the back of the net. So Garnacho, Palmer, they've got to step up, bruv.
But they need to step up, bro. Palmer needs a big game in this one. I know he just came back, but he's going to get chances, man. He scored a fantastic goal last season against them, Terry. I don't know if you remember it, outside the box. Madueke gave him the ball and he just bended it around Martinez, didn't even move. You know what I mean, bro?
From Madueke, I saw that. I remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad assist. You know what I mean? But no, I'm telling you, one thing I like about Enzo against Villa, bro. He loves the game against Villa, man. That's one thing I've realized about Enzo Fernandez, bro. He scored a free kick against them away from home. You know, he put out a very good performance last season there where he scored as well. We need to make sure that we're winning that battle, Terry. So it'll be interesting to see what Maresca does. Is he going to play Reece at right back up against Rodgers and allow him to invert into the middle? But then if he does that, when we lose the ball, Rodgers is going to have all the space in the world, but he has to face Fofana. It's not Euro. You know what I'm saying, bro?
What do you say, Don? What do you say, Don? Before I ask that, because I'm sure Staffy's got a few things he wants to ask, but I wanted to ask you, but a lot of Chelsea fans come on the terrace, and fair play, everyone sees things differently, and say there's nothing to be worried or frustrated about because Chelsea are just where we're meant to be. We're a top 4 team. Losing and drawing a few games is minor. We were never meant to be near the title race or near the top. There's nothing to be concerned about. Do you agree with that? Do you look at where you are and how you've been performing and go, that's acceptable of late?
No. It's definitely not acceptable, bro. Like, I'm disgusted. I literally said on Big Six the other day, I said to the man, I said, bro, I'm looking around me. I'm seeing Staffy. I'm seeing Terry. I'm seeing David. I'm seeing Saeed. I'm seeing Nuruddin. I'm seeing Rance. I shouldn't be seeing you, man, right? And obviously, you, man, you've improved this season, cool. But we all went into this season. I'm sure you all predicted Chelsea to comfortably get top 4, right? Myself and the likes of Terry were saying we're going to compete this season. So the fact that Man United can honestly be level on points with us in the next few game weeks is embarrassing, bro. It's a myth. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you lose against Leeds, you drop points against Bournemouth, Newcastle. Okay, you know, in isolation, you look at the result. It's not a bad result, but when you look at the rest of the other results you've dropped, it's not good. It's more drop points. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not happy with where we are right now, Terry. Like we should have been competing this season. And once again, you know, these lot against these lesser teams, Do you still
think it's down to the centre backs? You think it's still down to the centre backs? That is the main crux of it.
The centre backs have cost us in a lot of games this season. You know, start of the season we kept making silly mistakes, and then we had a little period against like Leeds, Bournemouth, where we weren't scoring as much, right? And that didn't help us. And then Newcastle was a tale of two halves, right? I thought in the first half we were just dominated, and then second half, you know, moment of brilliance from Reece, right? And then you had obviously moment of brilliance from João Pedro won us that game as well, you know. So it's a mixture, David, man. We've got problems in our attack, the likes of Garnacho. This guy, I've said many times, bro, like I didn't want him to be at this club because we've signed Gittins, you're bringing another squad player. It makes zero sense. And again, I spoke about how bad his finishing is. You know what I mean? João Pedro's picked up a little bit of form right now, but Neto's another one who likes to break down our attacks. Yeah. So boy, we just need the likes of Palmer to start to.
I had a back and forth with these man a few weeks back. Like they were going in on me because I said there is a world where these players can improve. Delap's been injured, right? But there is a world where Delap comes back and hits the ground running. Who knows, right? There is a world where João Pedro starts to improve. But these men were like, no chance. They're the worst signings. They weren't needle movers, and they'll never be what a Diego Costa was for you. Do you think Pedro or Delap can be any of those players, or do you think you need to go and get like an Osimhen or someone like that?
Bro, in an ideal world, I wanted an Osimhen, and then I wanted like a Delap behind him, right? So you've got him as a squad player. He can learn from someone like that. The pressure's not on him as much to be the starter. But of course, I agree with you. These guys have a lot of potential, David, but we needed to go and bring in more starting level players, and then you bring those guys in to be behind them. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm kind of at with these guys. But I think this squad is good enough to go and get top 4. In terms of competing, how I see it right now, David, I am not talking about Chelsea in a title race unless we are back up there in March onwards, right? Because they draw me in, you know, they play well against Arsenal, they'll do really well. But for me, the turning point for me was when I saw the Arsenal performance. We turn up to Leeds, and I was at that fucking game as well, fuming.
Yeah, crazy.
And then we drop more points against Bournemouth. That's when I said, bro, you man had your perfect week of tests, and you failed. So for now, top 4, get me a trophy. If we get back in the race in March onwards, then I'll talk about it. But for now, I think it's just top 4 and the trophies for now, bro. I'll be real.
What are you saying, Staffy? I know you're for a few things on your mind. I would assume on the Chelsea subject, and Don.
Well, I'm watching this shit game right now where the referee's about to give a penalty against Egypt. By the way, the refereeing level in AFCON is shocking. It's a handball inside the box, but he gave it as a free kick because he says outside the box. It's either a penalty or it's not because the handball didn't send the box. And it's because the player made a tackle. And you know when you use the supporting arm to while you're tackling, and we say you don't give a handball on that. So basically he's making a tackle and he's using one arm to break the fall, and he's about to give it as a penalty. What the fuck is going on, man? Anyways.
Amorim's definitely onto your internet, Staffy. I'll tell you that for free.
Is my internet glitching?
Only at the start when you started talking, you were like, chinga, glag, glag, I think the first like 5 seconds, and then it. Yeah.
If I have to drop back out and come back in, let me know. But yeah, Don, listen, bro. Don does a lot of waffle. I think he managed the art of waffling without getting caught out on YouTube way too much. He sits there and he says all these things that they should do. We already know that about him, and he never talks about the things that actually happen. Did you guys, why Don focuses so much on by the way on his back line and all that stuff? Let me tell you guys something. Did you know that Cole Palmer has 5 Premier League goals this season? Sorry, this calendar year in 2025.
Oh my God!
Right. How long was he injured for?
That's a beautiful that you said that. Do you know he only has 1 more goal than injury-prone Mason Mount in 2025?
How many goals?
How many goals you guys about that stuff?
Got here in 3 years? How many goals?
Don't never talk to you guys about that stuff because he'd rather sit here and focus on the back line and say, "But we need better than Tosin. We need better than this. We need better than that." Don is not going to sit here and tell you that. I want to make sure I'm correct because I forgot the exact number. I think Chelsea have 6 or 7 less points at this stage of the season than they did exactly a year ago. Never talk about that stuff. I wonder why he never talks about that stuff.
Why do
he doesn't want to talk about it? It's always nice to talk about progression. It's always nice to talk here and say, but Garnacho this and Gittins that, and we need this and we need that. He's not going to sit here and tell you how this team genuinely has regressed in a year that we expected him to go forward. This is the year. By the way, I put you guys in the summer finishing second.
That's the first thing that I said. We talking about.
You know how stupid I look putting you guys second.
Waffling, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm not waffling. I'm just telling you. I'm just
Why
giving
do you
some
think they've
facts.
regressed, Staffy? Why do you think they've regressed, Staffy? The
David,
manager?
hold on.
Why do you think they've regressed?
David, I say to this guy all the time in the group chat, you need to start to listen more, right? The first thing that I said is the likes of me and Terry, we predicted Chelsea to compete this season, and we are lingering next to you, man. That is unacceptable. What are you talking about? Which is an
improvement for us, for sure.
And it's not an improvement for us, right? It's obviously
true.
We've
met in the middle. We've met in the middle. Yeah, we've met in the middle. Why have you regressed?
I've given you multiple reasons, bro. We still haven't improved our form against these lesser teams. And like I said, start of the season, we kept dropping points.
But why?
Because of some ridiculous mistakes, right, at the back. I've spoken about our weak chin with the centre-backs. And on top of that, we had a little period where we weren't scoring as many goals as we needed to, bro. It's been a mixture. And Maresca as well. I don't think he's been great as well.
So Maresca, yeah, that's what
It's
I
a
wanted to hear. To
combination.
be
It's a
honest,
combination of things, bro. It's a combination of things. Football's never black and white, bro.
Of course not. Yeah.
Yeah, but
If
why?
if
Go on.
if you
Go
could
on,
fix it
David.
in January, not that January can fix anything, but if you could try and fix it in January, where would you go with this, Don? Would you invest in a centre back? Would you get Gay, or would you go after a Semenyo? Would you try your best to get another striker? Where would you go with this?
Bro, I would love to go get Gay right now. You know, I think he would stabilize the team a lot. He's someone that can step in when Fofana's not there as well. Because I love Fofana, but again, he's another one that you know, he's on a timer. He's on a timer, man. You like when he gets injured, he's out for ages, right? And I would have loved Chelsea to be in for Semenyo, but like I said on my Twitter, I didn't get gassed by that news, bro. I knew it was just gonna be a little smoke screen, put it out there. Yeah, we're involved, but then really and truly, nothing's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? That's a player that I would have loved for us to go and get because, bro, he comfortably walks in on that left hand side. Comfortably walks in on that.
Comfortably.
You know what I mean? So,
Have you lost faith in Garnacho being a good signing already?
Bro, I've always said to you, Garnacho is not good enough to be starting for Chelsea, and that's what he's doing right now. He is proving why he's not starting level and why he's a squad player max, right? Max. You know what I'm saying? I've said this about this guy for years, bro. And it didn't make no sense to get rid of the likes of Madueke, the likes of Jackson, to go bring another guy that can't finish. You know what I mean, bro?
That's a fair point, to be honest. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I thought he was going to hit the ground running for you guys because it just, you know, sometimes it works out that way. But I mean, he's not been terrible, has he, Don? He's not been terrible.
But David, he's just been decent. He's just been what I expect from a squad player. He's come in certain games. He's done well against, you know, what was it, Cardiff and whatnot. Like, I think he scored against Brentford and Sunderland or whatever. He's done all right in certain parts. But then you get the other parts where he's missing goals against Everton. He's missing goals against Newcastle. He's missing all these chances, right? Because that's the level that he's at. He's a squad player at best. You know what I mean?
That wasn't what Twitter DMs were showing, man. Listen, all I'm saying is every time this guy made a good pass, good cross, a good shot, got an assist, got a goal, I was just seeing Don crazy in my DMs. You know, he was DMing me like I'm an OnlyFans model or something. Wanted my attention badly. Listen, I'm ready to do this. And I actually told Terry I'm going to say this on Friday. I need a generous super chat so I can finally expose the DMs. You know, I'm ready. What did I call him? What did I say? I say the Donstein files. I'm going to expose the Donstein
files. Yeah. If we get a super chat of 50 or more, we are going to expose the Donstein file. The Donstein files.
I'll take a screenshot and I will send it to Terry and I'll have Terry post it on the stream right now.
All these guys are going to expose, yeah? Because if you're going to do that, I will release the Staffy files as well, bro. I will release them.
The thing is, I want to ask you a question, Don. And I want to ask you a question because I get your point.
Gillane Staffy. I'm going to call you Gillane Staffy.
Gillane Staffy.
Listen, Don Steen is better, bro. You can hold that.
But Don, you did say this a few months ago that you think Garnacho can become one of the best left wingers in the league at Chelsea. Why do you think he hasn't become that yet?
Bro, I stand by that statement, bro. For me, one thing I'll give Garnacho is that he's very good at running in behind. His movement is one of the best in the league for me, right? But his finishing is what lets him down, bro, right? And for me, if he improves his finishing, Terry, and he's getting 12 to 15 goals a season minimum, bro, we're looking at Garnacho differently. We might look at him and say, oh, he might not be the best 1v1, but he scores goals, right? So we're looking at him completely differently to now. But now, when you see man missing all the time, he's not going to get those ratings. But let's not act like Garnacho don't get himself in positions to be scoring more. He does. And like I said, if he was to score more of those goals, Terry, he would actually be one of the best in the league. But the point is right now, when's that going to be? When's he going to improve his finishing?
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's not what Chelsea fans were doing. Me, Terry, and David watched him for a good 2 to 3 seasons, and we would have told you for free that he gets in good scoring positions, but doesn't score enough. When I was sitting on the terrace here and giving you guys his stats last season, I forgot what the conversion rate was. He had the lowest conversion rate in the league for, I forgot what the minimum was but there was a minimum of how many shots he had to take in the league for him to be considered that stat. So it was a big enough sample size, is what I'm trying to say. And he had the worst conversion rate. We would have told you for free. He's someone who enjoys shooting a lot. He just doesn't get a lot of luck because his technique is not that good. So when he finds himself in this situation, and you tell me he gets in this situation, it's something that I don't know already. When people were talking about, but maybe he'll improve outside of United, there are players that are technical liabilities that unless they work on their craft, they will never be that good going to other teams. Yes, you can leave Man United and find yourself in a better environment. You can find yourself with a better coach. You can find yourself with better fans. You can find yourself with better weather. All these things are applicable. You'll go to look at Rashford, you could say that. You'll look at McTominay, you'll say that. Hey, even to a certain extent, I'll even allow Rasmus. But Garnacho generally never had these things. So unless you actually have him work with a coach over the summer where he's going to be like, I'm working all summer on my ball striking, I don't want to hear anything else because I don't care what system he is in. He is a player that when he finds himself in these situations, he's often going to make the wrong decision and his technique is going to let him down. So we already knew that. Yeah. It's the other fans that thought the minute he leaves United, there were so many fans, and I want no one to track back right now. I'm not even talking about just Don. I'm talking about old Chelsea fans. They were talking after that Carabao game, and there was another game where he just had goals or assists 2 games in a row. And people were like, see, I told you. There was the Carabao game and another game. I don't remember. I think it was Carabao Cup. When he got the back games with having G&A, and people were saying, see, we told you, it was the issue at United. Oh, he just needed a better environment. Oh, he just needed a better club. Oh, he just needed a better team. He needs to be a better player in general because players could be good and leave a toxic environment and improve. But if you don't have that in your arsenal, which he doesn't have, I don't care where you go, bro. You can go to Real Madrid. You can go to Barcelona. You're still going to be limited.
You're speaking facts, bro. There's a guy, I don't know if you man know Robert, yeah? He's a big Garnacho fan, Chelsea fan, right? He was propping him up like, we need to sign him. He's going to be one of the best in the league and whatnot. Bro, I did not want this guy. For those exact same reasons, Staffy. I did not want this guy because I said his finishing is not at the level that we need. Right? Terry's coming closer to the camera because we'll have him. Terry likes to promote multi-layered conversations. I said, personally, I don't want it. This is
hang on. So we are going to have a multi-layered conversation. Yeah. You definitely said that there are other wingers that you would prefer to him. I agree. But you also, on multiple shows, and I wanted to ask the audience if they remembered, back in January, when you first got linked to him, then throughout the summer, you some weeks would refer to him as Shirley Carter and you don't want him. And then there were other times where you were doing up, but this is where he could be impactful for us. When we improve this and he's in this environment, he'll deliver this. He's a good squad player. So it is multi-layered. I will never make the claim that you just bigged him up, and there was never any element of concern or worry or criticism. But this idea of, see, this is why I didn't want him, for me, I think that's a disingenuous take because
it's not disingenuous. It's not disingenuous. I don't see a different player. I see the exact same player.
I'll give you an example. Staffy never wanted Mount and didn't even present any positives that Mount would bring to the team. So when Mount flops, he can go, this is why I didn't want him. I knew it'd be this bad. If, for instance, I come out and say Ugarte at United, I can see the flaws in his game, but I think he might be excellent at breaking up play and helping us defend. And in those games where you need a clean sheet, I said those things and I was wrong. So what I can't do is go, I knew his footballing ability would let him down at Man United, as if that's all I said, because I presented the positive side to him. I can say I was right about that, but I can't make this claim that I was all knowing and all powerful like the Wizard of Oz, and I never wanted any element of Ugarte at Man United. That's what I said.
No, but that's the thing is, my take on Garnacho as a player hasn't changed. I still think he's a good squad player, bro. I told you in the group chat the other day that my thing is on the sporting directors, right? It's a bigger problem than Garnacho. Garnacho didn't wake up one day and say, yeah, I'm gonna link myself to Chelsea and I'm gonna make my way to London. He didn't make that decision, right? The sporting directors made that decision. They're the ones that decided to sign Gittins, and then they're the ones that went and signed Garnacho. Yeah. If we had signed, hold on, bro. Yeah, let me finish. If we had signed a starting level winger, Garnacho wouldn't be getting this much heat because you'd be seeing him coming in here and there off the bench, cameos and that. He wouldn't be getting this much heat. The reason why he's getting this heat, Terry, is because you're seeing a squad player who's started week in, week out, and it's costing us, right? He's in the spotlight right now, and he is not good enough to be in the spotlight. Like I've said 1,000,001 times, he is a squad player at best. Yeah,
right.
But in terms of him as a player, I'm not gonna cap and act like he's useless. Like
I think the issue.
Sorry, I'll go to you next, David. Sorry, but if he then starts being a good squad player, coming off from the bench, scoring a goal here, Cardiff game's playing well, then you'll say, "See, this is why I knew he'd be a good squad player." You either want him at your club.
I don't mind him as a squad player.
Not. The problem is that if he flopped, you'll say, "I told you I didn't want him." If he's a good squad player, you'll see, "Didn't I tell you he'd be a good squad player?"
Yeah, but I don't want him as
both sides of the argument.
It's not playing both sides of the argument, Terry, because he is starting in a position where I did not want him to be starting, bro. He's starting for Chelsea Football Club. He's starting. No, but he's a squad player. Squad players start games. He doesn't start every week. He doesn't. No, he's starting as much as a squad player does. And the thing is, he's only starting a little bit more than you want him to, because the players you think are better have actually been worse than him. No, bro. Listen, he is starting the way that he is right now, because when you look at the options on the other side, is another squad player who hasn't even got as much Premier League experience as him, right? If we had Semenyo,
Gittins.
Oh, I thought you meant I thought you were about to say Esteban is better than Saka. Sorry.
No, bro. Listen,
let's talk about Gittins.
Bro, I'm talking about Gittins, bro. He's competing with Gittins. It's not like he's competing with Semenyo.
He's obviously going to be ahead of Gittins.
You knew who he was going to be competing with, because
I didn't know.
You did, because Garnacho came after Gittins, and you didn't have anyone else.
That's my point, Terry. That is my point. We should not have signed Gittins and signed Garnacho. You only signed one of them. I was going back and forth. Yeah, Ches is in the chat right now, right? I was going back and forth with a guy called Callie. He's a Chelsea fan. And he was like, "Oh, I'm still seeing the Garnacho links popping up." I said, "Bro, there's no chance we signed Garnacho. We've already signed Gittins. It's not going to happen, right?" That's what I kept saying, because I'm like, surely these guys will not sign another squad player after signing a squad player already, bro. That doesn't make any sense. And guess what? We went and did it, Terry. Yeah, we went and did it. And I spoke about it all summer. That left-hand side, I would not have built it like that, bro. I've spoken about Ndiaye millions of times. I've spoken about Rodrigo millions of times. I've spoken about Semenyo as well as a better option than these guys, bro. I didn't want Garnacho to come in after Gittins. If we had signed Garnacho by himself and then we signed a starter, I'll say, cool, squad player, whatever.
But
cool.
What are you expecting from Garnacho, though, Don? 15 goals? Like, I don't think he's ever going to get that. He causes problems for any team. There's no denying that. Me as a Man United fan, I've watched Garnacho.
Yeah, he caused us problems. He never fucking scored, yeah.
The point I was going to make was him scoring goals was never going to be what you signed him for. It was causing problems to maybe create moments for your strikers. If you're relying on him to score goals and you're going to judge him on that, I think that's unfair, because he's never going to come good there. And you talking about him working on his ball striking and that. What player has ever improved on their finishing from that position? Players like Wilcox.
That's what I said. It's too late.
And this is what I spoke about with Robert. I kept asking Robert, right? We're bringing in another guy who's not clinical. Do you believe Maresca will improve him? And when will that improvement happen? Everything you're saying now, I was literally saying this before we even signed this guy. You know what I mean? I was asking these questions because I didn't want him. I did not want him in addition to another squad player. That don't make no sense to me, bro. That don't make no sense.
It's crazy. It was crazy. If you didn't get Garnacho, he was getting Xavi Simons.
No, Xavi Simons was separate, bro. Xavi Simons was separate. Was a separate signing.
Yeah, that looks like being just as bad, to be honest with you.
I don't think he's looked bad.
Because Xavi Simons plays more centrally. How the fuck's he getting? How's he getting in your team over Pedro and Palmer? He ain't.
No, but Palmer wasn't there for ages,
right now. I think
Palmer was but Palmer was coming back. Palmer was always going to come back. He wasn't the prodigal son where we didn't know when his return was happening. This here from Josh. Josh here says Staffy has the playbook. He knows all of Staffy's moves. Yeah, it's like watching It's like watching Lex Luthor in the new Superman film. He knows A1, B3.
Me and him and our take on Garnacho are identical. Difference is he just hates him now completely because he just.
When you say now, I need you to remember this. You said I hate on Garnacho because he went to Chelsea. I hated Garnacho equally when he played for United. There is absolutely no proof that you have that I was easier on Garnacho before he went to Chelsea. I used to argue with Terry every day how much I hate this guy.
I literally said you were hating him before he even came to Chelsea.
But,
bro.
so I just want you to think it's a Chelsea thing. Like, I don't just hate him now because he plays.
I've seen you big Garnacho up and say he's been decent for you. I've heard you say that.
He has been, Terry.
He has been decent.
He has been.
Yeah, I think he
Decent's
has.
not good enough. Decent is
How
not
many
good
goals
enough.
does he have in the league?
Until he scores a few more goals, and then you're like, see, this is why I wanted it.
How many goals does he have in the league?
Let me tell you something, Terry. For me to change my take on Garnacho as a player, I need to see him putting up numbers in terms of goals in the Prem more consistently. I need to see him getting in front of goal and finishing for me to change my take. My take hasn't changed on him. I still, you know, it is, David. You see Madueke at Arsenal, right? I see the exact same player. All he's doing right now is playing in red, right? It's the same thing as
you
Garnacho.
wanted an improvement. You wanted an improvement on that player. But tell me, what
I see Garnacho. Hold on, David. I see
has
Garnacho
given
right
you
now.
15 goals?
Madueke's been better. Madueke's been better than Garnacho this season.
I think you're being harsh, Terry. I think Madueke's gone into a more settled team, right? Chelsea have got a bunch of new players. I think Garnacho's been decent. Garnacho does what Garnacho does. But the point is, Don, when was the last time? When was the last time someone delivered 15 goals from left wing for Chelsea? Like, I genuinely don't know.
Since like the days of Hazard. But the point that I'm making, David, right, is Garnacho gets enough chances to be scoring minimum 10 goals a season, bro. The league alone, not in other comps. Bro, you man saw this guy against Tottenham get in the box and in February. I remember that day, Valentine's Day. It was Valentine's Day. I think it was Valentine's Day or around that little period there. Man got in front of the goal and the ball went far, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know what he is in front of goal. I know what he is.
This here from Echo Falls, big up Echo Falls, nice little drop of wine that is. He says the Newcastle game, that's like a £5 wine. You're like 18, 19, you got a date with a girl. It was that £5 wine you bought from the corner shop.
Shocking stuff.
That and Blossom Hill. Big up.
Blossom Hill.
But the hangovers on that stuff was a killer. Even as a kid, that was a killer. Newcastle game was a tale of two halves. Moments of brilliance from Reece James and Pedro won us that game. Another 2-2 win for Chelsea after a 1-1 win versus Arsenal.
Big up VAR, man. I misspoke. I meant come back into the game. We came back into the game, man.
Don, I gave you some weeks ago and you took it like a champ. My bad, homie. I must say you stand on your words and your team, and I respect that, is what Alex says.
No, I just call it as I see it, man. You're not seeing me coming out right now saying title race, bro. It's top 4 for us and get me a trophy, blood.
The latest Superman was the worst in history. I didn't mind it. It's not my favorite, but it's weird, right? Maybe it is the worst, but I don't think it was bad. I thought it was all right. I like the dog. I'm a dog fan, you know. I want to ask you boys a question before the end of the show. It's been reported today by The Athletic that Semenyo wanted Arsenal more than Man City. We've seen him reject United. We've seen him reject Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs. I know a lot of fans, a lot of clubs are doing the whole, we pulled out, we didn't push so hard, we didn't make this offer. You know my stance on this, even when it's my own club. We all wanted him. We all got fucking told no. He's picked Man City. But The Athletic put out an interesting report today, and it's come from David Ornstein, who is relatively fairly respected by most, that Semenyo preferred and wants Arsenal, but Arsenal didn't make a move. They've said if the player wants to go in January, we won't get involved. We want him, but we'd rather wait to the summer. I had a poll running earlier on in the stream where 60% of people said this is going to bite Arsenal in the backside. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that Semenyo is a big enough needle mover for City to give them give them the advantage, or if you already believed they had the advantage, a bigger advantage over Arsenal? Looking at these reports today from Ornstein, could this be bad news for Arsenal that they've allowed a player that would have picked them over City, according to those reports, to join their biggest title rival in the January window? What are we saying?
Yeah, man. I think it's pretty clear to see that Arsenal, well, City even, they want to attack their way to the league, Terry, you know? And right now, people are sleeping on their defense, man. They've got the second best defense in the league. They've sorted that out. For me, they need to go and get a Rodri replacement in the January. That doesn't mean that go and sell Rodri. It just means, brings an additional midfielder. So if Gonzalez gets injured, you're not having to depend on a guy that can't maintain fitness, right? But when I'm looking at their goals scored, Terry, they've scored 10 more goals than Arsenal right now. They've got Haaland, obviously, who's the best in the world. Then you've got Foden turning up. You've got Cherky turning up. You add someone else in a Semenyo, who for me will put up more numbers than Doku in this team, bro. As long as you keep that defense, you know, as long as you keep that defense stable at the back, they will win more games because they will score more goals. I look at the fluidity in the City team; it's better than anyone's in this league. Anyone's in this league, bro.
Liverpool, so you think he
pushes
pushes Doku out of the team, Don? You think he takes Doku out of the team? Yeah.
I think he'll have more end product than Doku, especially the goals. I think he'll score more goals than Doku because Doku's not really. Doku creates chances. I'll give him that. But in terms of scoring, I think Semenyo's a better goal scorer. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying. So I think that will add. But then you could play Doku on the right sometimes and play Semenyo off the left, or vice versa. Maybe Cherky and Foden down the middle. But Terry, bro, last season Liverpool scored more goals than Arsenal. Arsenal had a better defense, but ultimately they won the league because they scored more goals. You know what I'm saying, bro? So for me, I think City are trying to attack their way to the league, innit?
I hear that. By the way, I want to say to everyone who's watching over on X right now, a big thank you to you. About 2,000 of you tuning in on that platform. You can come and join us on YouTube. You can come and join the community here. The link is in the post. Come across, leave a comment, hit the like button, get yourselves subscribing as well. What do you make of this, Staffy? Because I don't know about you. I rate Semenyo highly. I think he's a top player. I think he's a proven player. I think he has everything the modern day player needs in the Premier League. He's quite clinical. He can take players on. He's powerful. He's 25 years of age, so he's not a baby. He has great experience. He came up through the lower levels of football. Do you think Arsenal would potentially miss the... I mean, everyone else tried, right? And we got rejected. But there's one thing to be rejected for a player and another thing to know that he would sign for you but not act. Do you think Arsenal made a mistake here?
Potentially, maybe. I spoke about their importance for getting to get a left wing for the longest now. Speaking about this for over a year on Straight Facts. If anything, I actually thought they needed a left wing more than they needed a striker. And I guess maybe they saw Eze as being that. I didn't really see Eze being the left wing as much. He could play there, but we know he's mainly a 10. So yeah, I mean, he could have been a left wing, but he's not as good as a left wing as Semenyo is. But my honest thoughts on Semenyo, I think he's a little bit overrated. I think he's a good player, but he's slightly overrated by fans. I think one of the reasons a lot of teams want him, and I don't know how many people know that, but statistically, he took the most shots in the Premier League last season. So no player had more shots than him in the Premier League, which is why he scored a lot of goals. But you always got to consider these things. You put up that amount of shots playing for Bournemouth doesn't really mean you're going to put up that amount of shots playing for any of the traditional top 4, top 6 teams, whatever you want. Bar Spurs. I mean, the fact that, by the way, his camp just told everyone you're allowed to bid except for Spurs, like, he's like, basically, just save yourself the time. Don't even bid because we're not going to consider you. But if he would have went to Arsenal, United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, he wouldn't be putting that amount of shots. He gives me a little bit of Sadio Mane vibes, but I don't think he's as good as Sadio Mane. I think Sadio Mane was a better defender. He's a better dribbler. I mean, maybe he's equal dribbler, but a little bit of a better passer. Mane didn't probably shoot as much, so probably end up having more goals than Mane does in the Premier League. But I think he's just slightly overrated. I don't look at his overall game and think he's someone that just fits in any team like a glove, like it's just a non-negotiable. Everyone should get him. I feel like he fits more of a transitional team, which is why I understand why Pep is trying to get him. Because Pep is like, we've all seen since last summer, they're trying to rebrand this whole Pep style where like it's a lot less possession and slow football and a lot more P&P and dual winning and transition football. And he kind of fits what they've been trying to do. So like in terms of the project that they're working, at least there's a consistency in the type of players that they're trying to get. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he should have went to Arsenal, if I'm being honest with you. I don't like the dynamic of the Arsenal front three. I feel like they all don't gel together. They somehow managed to still win a lot of games, which is credit to the manager of anything. But I just don't know how much he would have fit that team, if I'm being honest. Him going to City, I kind of like that move. As an unbiased football fan, if you ask me to be neutral, I kind of like the City move for him than anything else.
I think Semenyo slides straight into the Arsenal team, despite Trossard being good this year. And Don just said it earlier. Arsenal lost the league last year because they didn't score enough goals. if we look at recency, they can't score a goal to save their lives at the moment. It's own goals left, right, and centre from the other teams that are winning them games.
Wait, David, you know what the stat is for them for the last 4 goals? In the last one, I think it was like 3 games, they have an own goal, penalty, own goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I didn't know the exact things, but you watch it and you digest it, right? They're struggling for goals, right? And if Semenyo, I'll ask you guys, what do you think if he went to Arsenal, what does he deliver Arsenal in terms of goals for the rest of the season? 10?
For the second half of the season?
I'll probably say between maybe 7 to 10. Between 7 to 10, I would say.
He gives him a good dynamic there. I'm not gonna disrespect him. I said he's slightly overrated. For the people who are getting offended in the chat saying like that's basically me calling him shit. No, it's not what overrated means. Overrated means you're just rated a little bit higher than you should have. It doesn't mean that I don't rate you. I just don't think you should be rated as high.
I agree with your take of him being overrated, though.
He's just slightly overrated. Doesn't mean that he's a bad footballer.
He's overrated.
But if he brings 10
just slightly overrated, that's all.
If he brings 10 goals to Arsenal, I mean, we used to talk about De Gea getting us an extra 10 points this season. I would argue 10 goals gives you that. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. He comes in and he doesn't fix an issue that I think they already have. They struggle to play against a low block when it comes to a little bit of creativity. That's why someone like Victor Gyökeres, I don't think he should have never been signed for Arsenal. You bring him, and that issue remains to me because Semenyo is not a creator. You're not going to solve your Gyökeres issue by signing Semenyo. If anything, I look at that partnership and I don't see how it works. Like, I don't think they can play off each other, you know? So like them two coexisting, it's not a good combination, you know? So where do you go from here again?
I just think he's a better fit for Arsenal because, I mean, Man City, I just don't trust Pep with all players, to be honest. I mean, look what he's done with Grealish. I thought Grealish was fantastic for City, and I know everyone's like 100 million. I thought he was great for them. And I'd argue, technically, you guys can pull me up here. I think Grealish is technically a better player than Semenyo. I think Grealish is better on the ball than Semenyo.
It's not on Pep though. It's on
what though?
It's the manager
because
though.
Garnacho. What's his name? See, you said Garnacho, and you maybe okay. Grealish can't run with the ball in space like Semenyo does. But equally, I don't think Semenyo can dribble in tight spaces like Grealish does.
Or link up.
And Grealish is never going to get that many goals.
You know the thing I would say, Dave. A lot of people say that, and I think I'm someone that doesn't do that to Pep because Mahrez didn't lose anything.
Yeah, he was excellent.
Silva didn't lose anything. KDB didn't lose anything. Cherky, barring the injuries, has been phenomenal. Just all the little silks, the little tricks, the little moves, the Rabonas, all the little flicks. None of that has been taken out of Cherky's game. He made it happen in matches. I remember having shows where I went, Grealish today. Like, I had 10 chances where he's fronting up a centre back, and instead of trying to take him on, which he's been very good at doing, he's passing it, and he got defended. Pep tells him not to. Pep makes him do this. And I used to sit there and laugh and go, "Well, Doku's coming on and then taking his man on." I just don't believe that Pep sat there and said, "Grealish, don't you dare take anybody on." But over the years, it was like
it ended up going backwards. Yeah.
Do you remember me agreeing with you on that point about the directness of Grealish and Doku?
No, listen. I agree, and I actually like Doku. What I would say is this: I listen. It could bite them in the arse if Semenyo goes on and scores 10 goals between now and the end of the season and is a needle mover. It might hurt, but there is a side here where I'm going to defend Arsenal, and it's just a logical defense.
Surprise!
I'm
joking.
It's true, but this is the conundrum for Arsenal, and I think it's one that a lot of people have forgotten about. City have Doku in form. And yes, Cherky and Foden have played out there, but they're not necessarily natural right wingers. But Semenyo hasn't been good enough. Bob hasn't been good enough. They've got a number of attackers that have not really been good enough. And even Marmoush, I like Marmoush. I rate Marmoush. But there seems to be an issue there. And Semenyo can play centrally. So can play games instead of Haaland centrally. The issue at Arsenal is we all know that Kai Havertz is going to play a lot of games when he comes back centrally. Rightly or wrongly, it's going to happen. We know he's got the right-hand side down, and Madueke's been pretty good. The conundrum for Arsenal is Trossard in the Premier League has been very good this year. You could argue been as good or better than Semenyo. And in the Champions League, again, rate him or not, Gabriel Martinelli's been brilliant. 5 goals. And he's been imperative in their Champions League run. So Arsenal were in this one space. And it's a hard conundrum because forget it's Arsenal when you want to stick it on them. Think about it if it was your team. You've got a player you rate, you want to buy, but the 2 players currently in his position are in great form. Imagine the stick Arteta would get if Semenyo comes in and takes time to settle and doesn't hit the ground running, but he moves on a Trossard or a Martinelli that are scoring and doing well, and then they don't win the league still.
It'll be similar to when you man bought Sanchez when Martial was shelling it, bruv.
Yeah.
His momentum. It'll be like that.
No, it's Ronaldo. Look, Ronaldo scored a lot of goals.
I remember that, man.
I think there's a bigger one than that. Because Sancho.
I want to cry every time I remember that. I'm not even joking.
Sorry, I was thinking of Sanchez. Sancho. No, you're right.
Yeah, Sanchez.
Alexis.
Sanchez was wrong. We also did it when we brought Ronaldo in. Ronaldo scored goals.
Cavani was excellent. Yeah, no, Cavani was excellent before Ronaldo came in.
Was excellent, but more important than that, it was when we changed Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes was off the back of a season. No midfielder in the history of British and English football had scored as many goals in a season. He beat Lampard and Sir Bobby Charlton's record, and then we're changing your role to accommodate someone else coming in.
Yeah.
We become a worse team. Sometimes it doesn't matter if the player individually is better. You have to look at the sum of your parts. And that's, I think, the conundrum that Arsenal were in. If Trossard had a stinker this year, if Martinelli hadn't scored any goals, I think they would have been all over this. But we're City are in a position where they've got 3 or 4 underperforming players in positions he plays in. Arsenal on the left-hand side they're not signing him for the right because that's Saka's position. They're not going to essentially because Kai Havertz will come back into that role. So I kind of get why Arsenal haven't done it, but it's a great, for me, side story to the title race because if Semenyo comes in and kills it, it could hurt them. That being said, I said it the other day and I'll say it one more time again here live. This puts more pressure now on City to win the league because 2 points off top, greatest manager of a generation, a squad full of players that have got over the line. And Arteta has spent a lot of money, we'd all agree, right? 900 million, 6 years. Do you know in the after this signing, in the calendar year, Pep Guardiola has spent 48% of Arteta's total spend in 12 months. So there's everyone puts pressure on Chelsea. Got to go win, spent a lot of money.
Yep.
400 million, got to go win. Arteta's had 900 million, you've got to win something. None of that is wrong. 456 million in 12 months.
Big stuff.
On a squad that had already won everything. Has to be more pressure on them to win the league. By the way, that isn't before all the rivals cry their little eyes out like babies. Like we babies. Arsenal and Arteta still have massive pressure on them to win. If they don't win the league, it's failure. But if City don't win the league from here, after dropping another 65 million, I'm not doing this rebuild. Fuck off, it's failure. All of it's failure.
Is that the price? 65 million for Semenyo? Is that the price that's being touted?
Yeah, buyout clause,
I don't think that's a huge risk for Arsenal. I know you were making up saying Martinelli's been excellent, Trossard's been excellent. The reason you showed me a list a few weeks ago of the games that Arsenal had upcoming, right? And that they hadn't won last year. It was a bunch of draws, this, that, and the other. You've got to say their squad depth now. Their squad depth now is what is getting them these wins. Like they're managing to get these wins. And Semenyo adds to that squad depth. Let's not deny it. Arsenal are going to have a whole bunch of injuries all year. That's never going to change.
There's a comment here that says this is such a safe take from Terry. What does it matter if Semenyo turns out to be bad for the rest of the season if Trossard and Martinelli don't play well from now on? The problem that you've got, it's correlation and causation. So we're talking about, we're fans. What we do in football is support our teams and we talk about it. So if Martinelli and Trossard fall off and Semenyo kills it at City, this is exactly what we're talking about. People will go, Arsenal should have gone in for him. It will be something that Arteta regrets. Equally, if Semenyo goes into City and doesn't start well, like a number of, we've seen players come from outside the league, inside the league, move teams and not look good. We just mentioned Alexis Sanchez to Man United. At the time of that deal, there was an expectation that it would push United to another level, and it didn't work. The problem that you've got is the reason Jose got even more shit for it is because Martial was playing very well at the time and it rocked the apple cart. So if Martinelli was sold tomorrow after having a very good start to the season, Semenyo comes in and doesn't do well, there is going to be hell to pay for that decision. Equally, this is it. If he does brilliantly and Trossard and Martinelli fall off from now, Berta and Arteta are going to get shit. That's the nature of this beast. And we're discussing whether people think that it's going to go right or wrong for Arsenal or City. It's just so it isn't about a safe opinion or not. It's about discussing the fact of the matter that according to Ornstein, Arsenal were the number one destination of Semenyo. Well, Arsenal decided not to act. The question is to you, my friend, in terms of safe opinions. Do you think that was right or wrong? Tell us why you think what your answer is. It is what it is. You might think it's some of us might think your opinion's safe, but give us an opinion as opposed to just saying, well, could have gone either way, couldn't it? Yeah, it can. What way do you think it's going to go? Have some chest, be a geezer, give us your opinion. That's true. Some people just an opinion. None of us know if we're right or wrong.
I think it's wrong. I'm going to give my opinion here. I think Arsenal should take the risk for 65 million. I think Semenyo does maybe deliver 7 to 10 goals, and that could push them over the line. That could win them the games that you listed out that they could not win. So I think it's wrong, mate. That's what I think. You know,
sorry,
I think
somebody just sent me a picture. Do you guys know who Lieutenant Dan is?
Lieutenant Dan.
From Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've never watched Forrest Gump, you know.
Someone just told me.
Sick film,
my God.
Someone has just told me.
David.
No. Someone has told me that maybe when he's later in the film, but no. Someone just said he looks like Henry Wright, and they sent me a picture, and it looks like Henry Wright, like when he's clean shaven. It's hilarious. Sorry, I wasn't laughing at what David was saying. I was laughing at the.
Was it Lieutenant Dan, the one that lost his legs in the war?
Yeah, correct.
Someone sent me this picture and said, "I'm going to put it on the screen." Someone sent me this picture, and they were like, "Don't you think Henry Wright looks like?" Is KJ sent it, by the way. Well, KJ's, I don't know what.
I'd say Lieutenant Dan was better looking.
Most people are better looking than Henry Wright. I think Henry Wright looks like a young Uncle Fester with hair. That's how I think he looks. But no, he's got them dark eyes. It's funny as well. At my party, there's a young lad there that watches a lot of our content. And when Henry turned up, this young lad, he's only like 12, 13, come up to me, tapped me, and went, Terry, Uncle Terry. I was like, yeah. He went, that's Henry that pretends to be a Spurs fan, right? I went, yeah.
What?
But yeah, that is Henry Wright. That is Henry Wright.
Wait, isn't that the man in Look at the guy from is it called NCIS?
Yeah, he's in NCIS. He was in the Green Mile. Yeah. He's a very famous.
It does look like
very famous actor. To be fair, who plays him? It's played by Gary Sinus or something like that. Very famous.
You've got to show Henry now. How can you not show Henry?
George and Master Men. Yeah, he does.
Hey, George. I love those films, man. That was and the book. The book's better than the films, but it's great. I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show today. A massive thank you to each and every single one of you for tuning in. I know Boxing Day can be boring for some people, so hopefully this is giving you some nice light entertainment. 4 league titles in a row, and according to Terry, City must. Yeah, there's always a must, yes. So again, this is what you're doing, though. What you're doing is you're thinking Arsenal when I say that. I'm not saying Pep deserves to be sacked if he doesn't win the league, but there wasn't a season that Man United had under Sir Alex. There wasn't a season that Wenger had in the Premier League. There wasn't a season that Jose had in the Premier League where they weren't expected to win the title. There's no way I'm going to sit here and go, just because Pep's won it before doesn't mean...
you won 4, so now we can give you 4 years off. Like, that's not how football works.
Yeah. It is still, for me, what I'm saying here, Marco, and if you don't believe it, it may be because you still think you're in League One. City not winning the league from this point is failure. They must win the league or it's failure. I'm not saying they must win the league or Pep has to be sacked. See, what you're doing is because you're delusional because you've got Arsenal derangement syndrome. Your brain's going into Arsenal mode. Because I'm talking about City in isolation. So what you're doing is going, Arsenal? Why are you going to Arsenal? I'm not. If your brain goes straight to Arsenal, that's because you're obsessed with them. I'm speaking about the fact that a squad that has had more money spent on it, more than double the money spent on it that Arsenal's has when you look at the salary as well, cannot be given a year off, 2 years off. You must win the league as well. Straight up facts. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show. Please like, share, and get yourself subscribing. Until next time, people. This is, by the way, it's going to redirect you to Judge Mo's channel, so go and support my brother over there. Take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you soon.